All right, so in this video demonstration, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to call it a video tutorial. It's just going to be a demonstration of something I need to do, but I thought it might be useful for you just to kind of watch and learn what you can learn, but just so you could see that once we know what we're doing here inside Inkscape with InkStitch, we can create things fairly quickly. All right, so let's go ahead and import a logo that I need to make. I just want to make a little patch design of this. Okay, so there is our logo. Now this is a ping file that is a really good quality ping. So we're just going to right click to convert it into vectors by going trace bitmap. And we'll go ahead and hit just accept the defaults because this is such good quality artwork. So with satin, it's all going to be satin. We can't have fills. So we'll get rid of our fill. There it is. And we can get rid of our original image. So I got rid of my fill and I did apply a stroke. So let's just start here. Let's go ahead and get rid of this segment right here. We'll get rid of that. Now we can't do that. What happened there? Okay, I know what we need to do. What we need to do is we need to break this all apart because I need all this stuff to be separate anyhow. So I just need to deal with this guy right here. So we're going to delete that, and then down here we're going to break it, and then we have to kind of come in here and investigate some things. So our nodes need to line up. Okay, so we got that one there, then this one here has got to line up there. That's no problem. We'll go right above that, creating a node. We don't need that. This one's connected to that one, that one, that one, and we'll get rid of that one. So now that is ready to become satin stitches. We'll get rid of our running stitch that's added by default. And oh, you can see our satin is good, but it's huge. It is huge. Forgot to resize it. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So we are going to have it to be about 50 millimeters. Okay. 50 millimeters is about 2 inches. Okay. About. It's not exactly, but it's pretty close. So let's do 0.3. All right. So now let's take a look at that. Go into params here. And let's see how good our satin column does look. Yep, looks pretty good. I am going to change my short stitch inset because I saw a little short stitch there I didn't like. There's something right there I'm not super happy with. It's a little bit of weird something. Let's look at that. What's happening here? Something a little bit weird. What's happening? That's good. That's good. Okay, maybe not. Maybe we'll just take these away. Let's just take those away and see what our satin looks like now. Because if it looks fine, the only reason we have those nodes is to kind of control our stitch angle. And we do need those. Okay, so I'm not happy with that. So we're going to straighten it out right here. So we're going to put a node there. First of all, we're going to select that and make it straight so that when I do add a node there, it just stays right where I want it. Now let's look at it. Devil's in the details. Should be okay now. And yes, beautiful. All right, I do like that. All right, so let's move on here with our letter C. So this we don't need. This node we don't need. That we don't need. But we do need to control all of our mates here, all of our node mates. These are stitch angles, so we don't need that or that. That'll connect to that. Then this one, I'm going to go into wireframe mode. That's going to connect to that. Then we need one more right behind that to connect to that. Then we don't need that or that. Then this is going to connect beautifully. This is going to connect with this, so we don't need that or that. And we probably don't need that or that. All right, so now you can see how I got 3 nodes stacked up there because that's going to connect, one's going to connect there, one's going to connect there, then one's going to connect there. So let's go ahead and turn that into satin and see if I'm right. Indeed, looks good. That's going to stitch out nicely. Go ahead and choose apply and quit. I'm happy with that. All right, now let's go ahead to do the D. I'm skipping over the A because it's a bit more complicated. So let's go ahead and combine the D. We had two pieces. Now we have, so we still have two pieces. So we need to Control K. That should make those one now. And indeed, we have one. All right, so where are we going to split this bad boy? We're going to split it right here. Shift B. All right, so now we have to go and do our node doctoring. So that is going to connect to right here, right here. This one's going to, let's see, how is this going to work? Okay, so yes. So it's going to start here. Then it's going to connect here. It's going to connect to the corner here. So we don't need this one. Let's see here. Let's think about this. So it's going to make that corner. How did I think about this? Let me back up here and just think this through a second. Because satin needs rails, okay? So what it's going to have to do is, we can go ahead and get rid of that. So, okay, so this is going to connect to this. This is going to connect to this, but then this has to connect to something too. Okay, so this now connects to that one. This one connects to that one. And then this is going to have to connect to, let's do this. I got an idea. So let's slide that one down a little bit. Add another one. Okay, so the bottom one is going to, this is going to connect to this. This is going to connect to the bottom one. This is going to connect to the next one. This is going to connect to the next one. And that's going to connect to this. And then right here, right behind it, that's going to connect. Beautiful. And now the rest of it's pretty straightforward. We don't really need that one or that one. Then we're going to connect here. Connect there is fine. Connect there is fine. We don't really need this one here. We'll go ahead and get rid of that's going to connect. So we'll put that one back. That's going to connect, and this is going to connect. And just like we did up top there, we're going to have another one connect there. We don't need this one. Then this one's going to connect right behind it. We don't need that one. We'll come straight across with that one. And that should give us our satin. I know that was kind of a lot to look at there, but let's see if my way of thinking actually pans out. Sometimes that node editing, it gets a little confusing. So far so good. Beautiful. If it worked up here, it should work down there. And indeed it does. So very pleased with that. Now this C here, let's go ahead and just drag over a guideline for a moment, because this C we do not need because we already digitized this one. So let's duplicate it, hold our control key down, and just slide it right on over till it lines up there. And then we can select our guideline again and just hit the delete key and get rid of it because we don't need it. All right, now our A does need a little bit more work. So we have two parts to our A right now, so we're going to combine those together. So the inside of our A is now combined to the outside of our A, but we need to split right here, this horizontal piece. So click, shift, 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 and shift B. That's going to split. So now what we're going to do is we're going to shift control K and split that all apart. So those two pieces should now be separate from everything else. And indeed they are. So let's go ahead and combine those back together again. I'm just going to stretch them out and use my shift key. It'll stretch both sides. So you see how those just peek in just a little bit? That's fine. So now we have this piece and the part of the inside of our A. So we need to combine those two together. So we'll go ahead and combine those two together. So then this piece right here needs to come up to that. And then this piece here needs to come up to that. And then we select those two and hit Shift J. That combines those nodes. Okay. So now we need to split this into satin rails. So we'll select those two and Shift B. Those are now split into satin rails. But we're going to have to take control of our nodes. So our nodes are going to control our stitch angles. So we don't really need those or those. We don't need that or that. We need our corners. We don't really need that. We don't need that, that, or that. There's our corner. We don't really need that or that. There's our corner, but here's where it gets a little bit tricky. So we're going to add one right behind it. That's going to connect there. And then we're going to have to add another one right across from there. That's going to connect there. And then we don't need that, that, that. You see that weird line? Not good, right? Shift L. That'll make it straight again. Don't panic. No need to panic. All right, so we've got that. We don't need that, that, or that. And that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. All right, so now we should be set to go with our satin. So let's take a look at our satin here. Ooh, we got issues, we got issues, we got issues. We got lots of issues. All right, so let's start right here. I skipped over something right here. Ah, look at that, extra node. See, devil's in the details. All right, let's go back in and look at it again. Looks good, looks good. Come around the bend, looks fine. Down, and that's gorge. So there you go. That's fine. And then this is all good, just like it is. So we will go ahead and turn it into satin. So that looks good. I'm happy with that. We'll go ahead and choose Apply and Quit. All right. So now all of the ACDC part, let's go ahead and just let's just go ahead and look at a quick simulation. So this simulation is, I don't know why I keep doing that with that keyboard shortcut. It's Shift Control. I think my keys are sticking on my keyboard a little bit. Shift Control P is my, and I just did it again. I think it's has to do with my my keyboard shortcut. Like my keyboard though, like it's kind of messing up for some reason. Let's go into Extensions, InkStitch, Visualize, and right here, Stitch Plan Beaver, Shift Alt. I was doing Shift Control. Oh, that's why I was doing it. All right, so let's go ahead and hit Apply, and this will give us a realistic preview of our stitches up to this point for our little patch. Okay, let's go into normal mode here. Ooh, look at there. So you see, that's what our satin stitches are going to look like. Yep, very pleased with that. So that's good. Now, there is one thing that I am going to go do that I did not do previously, and that is, let's go into params, and I brought it up again. Used the wrong keyboard shortcut. I got stuck on that one keyboard shortcut. So, so anyhow, what I want to do is I want to add some contour underlay, because generally speaking, any satin column that is over 4 millimeters, I do a contour and zigzag. And I'll just leave the defaults for this particular project. It doesn't really matter. We'll go ahead and hit Apply and Quit. That's fine. Then one other thing I'll do just for fun is I will stitch this in a certain order. Right now it's all scattered everywhere. So we're going to select our center piece, and this piece, and this piece, and then this piece, and then this piece, and then this piece, and then we'll go up to Extensions, and we'll choose InkStitch, Edit, Restack. And now it'll restack those in the order that we asked them to be. And so now when we go into simulator mode, you will see it'll start with the little piece in the middle of our A, and then it'll do our A and our C and our voltage and DC. Okay, so normally at this point, we would talk about routing and pathing, right? Normally. But we're not going to concern ourselves with it because this is just a few thread trims and just like a one-off job. But if I was going to send this out into the world, then I would probably want to spend a little bit more time with the thread trims and thread jumps and whatnot. But we do want to go in there. I went into simulator. I meant to go into params. But we do want to go in there and add one more param here. And I'll show you where that's at. So right down here, we're going to choose this to trim after. And that's just going to trim after each shape. And that's what we want to do. So let's make sure that is selected. There you go. And it will trim after each shape. Okay. So there we go. So this should be, let's see here. Yes, about 50 millimeters wide, which is about 2 inches. Now the patch blank that we're going to be stitching this on happens to be 2.5 inches. So let's go ahead and draw that out. And I hold my control key down to constrain to a perfect circle. So now we are going to go into inch mode here. And we're just going to set the width to 2.5. Okay. And now what we have to do is we're going to have to add some text, but we're going to curve it. So it's going to say high voltage on top, and then down below, it's going to say rock and roll. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this circle. And the first thing I want to do is make this circle smaller. So I just want to give me a visual reference here. So we're going to hit Shift Control, and we're going to bring this down. And by doing that, it reshapes from the center of our circle. I want that high voltage to be about that far away, maybe just a touch more, but that far away from the edge. So the top of our lettering needs to be at that circle, and that's why I put that there. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to do is we have this circle, okay, and I want to come in here with my text tool. Let's just do this real quick. Let's type in high voltage. And I think I just had Arial, the Arial font selected. And I think that's fine. Now we could give it a little bit less stroke, maybe. I don't know. Maybe give it 0.2 or 0.1. How about no stroke? How about that? How about no stroke, but we give it a fill? Maybe that's the ticket. There you go. Now we're good. All right, so I do like that. Let's move it down right here, and I just want to get a visual reference. You'll see what's happening here in a moment. But I'm going to duplicate this circle, and we're going to do Shift and Control. And what we're going to do is right there. See that there? So when I go to apply this text to the path, I'm just doing a visual. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just about there, okay? So what we're going to do here, so on high voltage, let's go ahead and duplicate this. So how big is that? Let's start there. Let's go to our text tool. I didn't even look at that fact. Okay, 12 points, that's fine. That's about how big I wanted it anyhow. So we're going to select that text and our circle. Okay, then we'll go to the text menu and we'll choose Put on Path. Okay. Now, when it does that, you can see it's, it's just a bit, it just kind of puts it on there arbitrarily. So what we could do is we could then rotate this to the point that we need it to be. So there, now you can see. Now, if we want to make sure that this text is really centered, what we could do is pull down a guideline, and now you can see that that text is actually perfectly centered. So Bob's your uncle. We're good there, right? All right, so let's go ahead and get rid of this. Now we don't really need that guideline, so let's go ahead and just delete that. All right, so now this text is on this path, but we want to release that. So to do that, we're just going to select that, and we're going to just choose Path, Object to Path, and then you can see that if we wanted to, we could delete this. No, we can't. So let's take our text and our text here, and let's do object to path. Okay. So now if I delete my path, you can see my text stays exactly where it should be. All right. So now the next thing we want to do is so we did high voltage and we want to do rock and roll at the bottom. So we'll grab our text tool. We'll go ahead and type in rock and roll. Okay, so there's our rock and roll. Beautiful. And then we need to do the exact same thing. So we're going to select our circle and we're going to choose text, put on path. Okay. Now you can see, of course, what it's done here. It's put it right on top of where our last one was. But let's go ahead and select that and let's rotate it. Okay. Now you can see that it kind of like almost like it's off kilter. The center of the circle is off kilter how it rotated that. And honestly, I'm not sure why it does it sometimes and not other times. I don't really know. But what we need to do is we need to flip our text. So you see, we need rock and roll down here, and so we need to flip our text anyhow. So there you go. So we do know that this is supposed to basically be roughly center, or the bottom of this, we kind of wanted right on the bottom of that. Okay, I think I know why now. All right, let's delete that. Let's delete that altogether. I wasn't thinking. So let's take our rock and roll and let's put it on this path. So let's do that. Text, put on path. So there you go. That's on that path. Let's go ahead and flip it. So that's on the inside. And now let's rotate this. Yes. We're going to pull down our horizontal guideline again. And what we're looking for is that roughly centered there. Or do we need to rotate it a little bit more? Let's see here. See where that is? That's hitting basically right dead center. So I think we're good. I think we're good there. So we're going to run with it. So let's go ahead and select this text, remember? Path, object to path, and then we can go ahead and get rid of that outline. So that's what we need. We need rock and roll, high voltage rock and roll. Okay, that's what we need. But what we need to do is come in here and we are going to create a new layer. And let's just, for right now on layer 1, let's lock it so we can't do anything with layer 1. And come in here with my pen tool, and I'm just going to click and digitize this text manually. Okay? And you'll just kind of watch what I'm doing here. So pretty simple stuff. We're just going to go right here in the center. And we came back, and now we're coming back. So I need to make my connection with my H. Come down here, come across, come up here, back down here. At this point, we don't have to be too particular because we are going to make some changes. Let's go there and let's go to wireframe mode, and you see, like, for example, right here, we'll go grab our node editor. I did do a great job right there. So we could just move that over there. Those are all close enough where that's fine, that's fine. Now, when we have this big gap, yeah, I'll go ahead and do a thread trim there. But for the rest of it, we're just going to go ahead and, so we'll come down here, come over there a little bit, come back down here. We're going to connect it right there. That seems to be more or less the closest connection point. And then we'll do it right here. So let's see how I want to do this. Let's go down, down. So this is really actually manual punching, because everywhere we're clicking, I'm going to go back to, because we can just see it a little bit better. Everywhere I'm clicking, that's where that needle point's going to be. Okay, so we're right here, and then we're going to jump over here, come up here, come down here, jump over here, jump here, go up here, over, over, and yeah, I think I will come back down. Usually we like those connectors to be at the base like that, but not always. That's not necessarily always the case. So we'll just kind of connect it right there. Come in, let's see. Yep, we're gonna make that connection right here. So we're gonna come up here. We're gonna go and add a param when we get all done with this. That will ensure. Now, when we're coming back along, we really don't want our needle to go in the exact same spot. So it can be close, but we don't necessarily want to click on the exact same spot. So you can see I'm just kind of eyeballing the middle here. And oops, I drug my mouse a little bit, so it's wanting to make a curve there, and we don't want a curve. So we'll come back down here, and then we're going to connect to our E here. We'll come up, over, back, down, over, back, down, and over, and there we go. That takes care of high voltage. Okay, so what that means is this, we can, let's see here. Okay. Oh, that was on layer 1. Gotcha. So those are our 2 paths. Okay. All right, no worries. So that takes care of that. Now, down here, we may want to make a small adjustment. So you see here on this lettering, because it's on the inside of the circle, this lettering to me is just a touch too close together. So let's unlock layer 1 so I could adjust this. That's just my personal opinion. Oh, you know what I did? Darn it. Darn it, darn it, darn it. I went ahead and converted that to, that's no problem. We'll just redo it. So let's duplicate the circle, and we'll resize it. So it's right back to there again, right at the base of that text. Okay, so we are going to get rid of this then, because I do want to space those letters out before I set them in stone. So let's just retype that out, rock and roll. Rock and roll. Okay, so we do want to give that a fill. There we go. So we do want to connect that. So we're going to go to back to path, or text rather, and put on path. And see, you can see there, it did put it on the path. We do need to go to the inside, so we are going to flip it. Flipped it the wrong way though. There, no, I did not either. Well, let's go ahead and rotate it first of all. Let's take care of that part of it. So we're going to rotate our circle though, not our text. So we're going to put that back on the bottom, flip it. There we go. Okay, let's pull down our horizontal line to make sure that that is perfectly centered, and you can see it is from left to right. So that part's good. But what we need to do now is we just need to come in here and we need to space these apart a little bit. So we'll select all that, and then you can come up here to spacing. Let's see, right here. This little icon here is, if we hover over that, you'll see spacing here. And let's do, I don't know, let's just try 0.2. You should see it change just a little bit, but that's going to have to change a lot more. So let's try 0.8. Maybe even just a little bit more. 0.1. Or just do 1, rather. And now let's take a look at it. Now you want to kind of compare the spacing of this with the spacing of that. And I think that's more or less what we wanted. So let's go ahead and let's go back up here to path, object to path, and then let's lock that layer again. and then we'll go back up to layer 2 and we'll take care of our lettering. So we'll grab our pen tool again and click, and click, and click, 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 click. We'll come in here, come back here. Look there. When it does that, that means I made it a little bit rounded, and I didn't mean to do that. So I must have dragged my mouse ever so gently. Okay, so then we're going to connect with our O here, and we're just going to come around. When we see this stitch out, this is where the payoff really will come. It's like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. All right, let's see here. Yeah, we can connect at the base here. So what we'll do is we'll come up for our C. Then we'll come back. Again, try to avoid those same needle points, but it's okay if you don't, if you land right on one again, it's not a huge deal. Okay, so we're going to jump from there to there. So on our K, we're going to come back down here, over here, back down to here, back down to here. That takes care of rock. Now we don't want to fill there, that's for sure, but we do want an outline. So we'll go back and add an outline there. And then we'll grab our pen tool again. And we'll just continue on here. Come over and back and down and over. And back and down, and then over to our D. Okay, so that takes care of that. And then we'll do roll. Grab our pencil again. Now, I'm not real happy with that. So we can undo. If you're not real happy with a point, we can undo and then just kind of go back in and redo it. Or we can modify it after we're all said and done too. Either way. So when you know how like on a hat design where you have the little R, you know, the registered trademark, that little bitty one, that's how you want to do it. You want to do it with these running stitches. But this is like what we're gonna do is we're gonna tell InkStitch that this is all manual punched. So everywhere I'm clicking, that's where the needle's going to hit, whether it's 2.5 millimeter stitch length or whatever the stitch length is, that don't matter. Because we're telling it exactly where we want the needle to hit. So when we switch over to manual punch, that's what it's going to do. It's going to give us just exactly what we asked for and nothing else. Okay. Rock and roll. There we go. So now, let's see here. Let's go ahead and turn off layer 1 just for a moment because I want to look at what we created. Rock and roll, and I guess that other piece is on layer 1. That's what that's telling me. So it's not locked, so we can move it up. Nope, that wasn't it. Well, let's turn it back on so we can find that piece. Where's that piece at? Okay, it's right there. Where's the high? Let's go ahead and turn off that and let's look. What did I do here? Let's go to wireframe mode. There is no high. I don't know what happened there. What did I do? I don't know. I don't know. But this is what I wanted to look at. I wasn't real super pleased with the bottom of the O here. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to look at that. Okay. I think I'm more pleased with that. I'm more pleased with that one. Let's see. What do I want to do here? What do I feel like I need to do to fix that? All right, maybe that's better. All right, so I am happy with that. but for some reason I don't have high. I don't know how that happened. But let's go back into our pen tool then, and let's put it in there. Maybe I didn't do it. I guess it's possible. Thought I did though. So we're going to connect it right here because that's the closest connection point. We're going to come back. I do like to be here because I can see my line easier. So that's why I like to be come down here, connect to my H. All right, something like that. So there we go. So now I've got high voltage rock and roll. So what do we need? We need to get rid of this because we don't need that anymore. So let's unlock it first of all. So we don't need this. Okay. And then let's turn off that for a moment. Let's go into wireframe mode so we can see this better. Okay, so that piece we don't need. This piece, where is that piece residing? What in the world? Did you see that? I accidentally deleted my digitized high. There we go. There's high voltage. And we don't need this anymore, so we can get rid of that. There we go. All right, so that's good. So what is all of this? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. But what is this? And then this is high again. It was there the whole time. What's going on here? So, well, now I'm freaking out here. Apparently, there is a duplicate high that we can't see because it doesn't have a stroke color? I don't know. I don't understand what's going on here. But whatever that is, we need to get rid of it. So now, now what? Now what? Let's go back into wireframe mode. What is going on here? Okay. Something strange happened there. All right, so I want this to stitch like this in this order. So I want the high to stitch first, okay? And then the voltage, and then the rock and roll. Yes, I want to stitch just like that. All right, so all that's good. So now all I need to do is, bring in the ACDC portion of the logo. And we're going to go to Align and Distribute here and do horizontal. We do not, we want to move and align the selection as a group relative to the drawing. I guess relative to the last selected? I don't know. I guess so. Shouldn't really matter too much. So let's go, no. So this has to be a group. The high voltage and the rock and roll, all that has to be a group. There we go. So now we can do horizontal center. Perfect. And then this and this, we can do vertical center as well. All right. So that's